I just need y'all to know that Cottrell is like the biggest savage ever. We're having like a pre-show conversation, and Cottrell's like, "Hey, right, the show's ready to start. We're just going to delete y'all from stage. Y'all done. We're done talking." Welcome everybody to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, and in the upper left corner, I got the man that makes sure we start on time. Penn State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cottrell.
Look, gentlemen, I get it. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm like, you know what? Let's not be selfish here. We got to bring the people in on the conversations as well. So, I mean, let's let it all air out. You know?
Yeah, Shally, tell them what you're mad about today, Shally. In the upper right corner, we got Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally. He's probably got a bruise on his inner thigh. Mr. William Shallcross. He's not even talking.
It's actually the top of my shin. It's swollen. Freaking back hurts. Battered, bruised, but Cal Ripken, Shallcross answers the bell one more time. Just for the show.
He's the Iron Man. He's the Iron Man. Don't let him lie to you.
The Iron Man.
We got a lot to get into tonight, and the reason Shally is so annoyed is because we lost our playoff game last night. And that sucks. And that's, things happen in life. And I'll say this. I know at least one team that knows how to lose with a little bit of grace. But we lost. It is what it is. We got to get rolling. Let's get into today's topics. We got Hot Wire. We got the NBA playoffs that are in full swing. We got Wire2Wire's trivia question brought to you by, is it Shally's week or Cottrell's? I know I won, so. Shally's week. And then we got NFL top 10 list. And then we got to get in. You got to be kidding me. Check y'all out in the chat already. Key, Kyle, appreciate y'all. Tag your followers, tag your friends. Come hang out with us. RJ, tag followers. Hit @tag followers. I see you. Don't hide from me. Let's get into it. Hot Wire topic. Topic number 1. For you Philadelphia sports fans that may be paying attention, something happened last night in the baseball game, and the Phillies are rained out tonight, but it made me, I have to talk about it. I have to get in this conversation. And it becomes what would have happened 5 years ago? What would have happened 10 years ago? What would have happened 25 years ago? 4 games. In 4 games, the Philadelphia Phillies' best player, most paid, highest paid player, has been hit by a pitch 3 times. Last night, Spencer Strider went as the title of the Elmore and Hackney podcast. They went up and in. They went up and in on Bryce Harper, hit him in the elbow, took him out of the ballgame. Now, whether or not you like him, whether or not you dislike him, whether or not you think it was intentional or not intentional, you cannot let somebody take a shot at your best player and knock him out of the game and not retaliate. I won't allow it. I won't allow it. So I'd love to get your opinions on what happened last night in the Philadelphia Phillies Atlanta Braves game. A rival pitcher who has openly said bad things about Philadelphia versus the best player on the Philadelphia Phillies gets hit in the elbow and taken out of the game. Someone's got to pay. Someone's got to pay. It's the way I feel. Shally, you're a Philly fan. I'd love your opinion on it first, if you don't mind.
Well, as you know, I'm old school. And to steal your point, somebody's got to pay. There's got to be an eye for an eye here situation. I would have loved to see what would have happened with Wheeler tonight. I would have put Acuna down first at bat as soon as he got in the box. Hit him right in the hip, hit him right in the back. Make it very clear what it was for. Don't throw at his hands. Don't throw at his head. Don't do any of that. But you hit him. Landon knows what's up. And then we go from there. Yeah, I mean, listen, you could be a rival. You could be this. You can be that. But, when you do stuff like that in rivalry games, there's got to be repercussions. Strider's a good enough pitcher that he's not missing by a foot. He's not. So he can sit there and say that he was just trying to go inside. It's not like, he hit Bryce in his backhand or something. You hit somebody in the elbow like that, he's a foot and a half off the plate where he got hit. So elite pitchers don't miss by that much if they don't want to. Got bad news for everybody. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that he deliberately was like, I'm gonna try to hurt Bryce. But he let that pitch go, knowing damn well it was definitely going way inside. And if it hit him, it hit him. Yeah, like I said, message has to be sent. Division rival for sure. Message needs to be reciprocated. You hit our best player, your best player is going down as well. So have it be. I really don't want it to be Ranger tomorrow in the first game. I'd rather Wheeler do it ace for ace. And hit Acuna in the second game, but it better be done before they leave town.
I'm not disagreeing with that. It better be done before it leaves town. But the problem is this, right? I don't want it to be Wheeler in the first. I don't want it to be the first batter of the game, because then you go into that situation that happened in New York when Noah Syndergaard threw behind Chase Utley and immediately got ejected from the game.
He's not going to get ejected. Like I said, if you're not throwing at his head, listen, the umpires also know what's up at this point. So at some point they know what's coming. Like I said, you go first pitch, you hit him in the hip or whatever. They might give out warnings at that point so it doesn't get out of hand. But that still plays to the Phillies' advantage. They got their shot back. It's equal. If Atlanta hits anybody from that point forward, they're getting chucked too. So don't care how it goes. Wheeler can go out and hit the first guy of the game. They're not going to toss him. They're not. So, like I said, Acuna's going down first at bat for me.
Oh, and by the way, Cottrell, to give it a little bit more context, it was the third batter of the game, 2 outs, nobody on. It was the moment to hit someone. And I think that matters so much. Like, it wasn't like there was a runner on first, 1 out. Like, they didn't start the inning that way. It was nobody on, 2 outs. I'm going to take a shot at your best player.
It's the perfect time to do it. Yeah, it's not because if there's guys on first and third or the bases are loaded, and then you could be like, well, I'm obviously not trying to hit him and walk in and run. Correct. Like there's no reason if you're going to take your shot, that's exactly when you take it.
Cottrell, need your thoughts.
So
context matters.
I told you guys in the group message as we were discussing this, I am all for Philly retaliating and doing what they need to do. But from a strategic standpoint here, Bill, I understand what you're saying, ace for ace. I think it being rained out today is like it should be the perfect storm for the Philadelphia Phillies. I think you go out game 1 with the guy that's not who's on the mound first game?
Chris Sanchez.
Ranger.
Nope, Ranger pitcher. Christopher Sanchez.
So Sanchez is on the mound. I say first pitch, first at bat, you send it. I think the message still gets across what needs to get across. I don't think you have to wait the extra game for the message to get across there. And I think for me, not saying that, obviously Sanchez is still a good pitcher as well in his own right, but I don't think you want to run the risk of burning Wheeler for one pitch if they decide to throw him out, especially if it's like been festering. And like you said, Bill, everybody knows what's up at this point. I do think you run that risk if that's the case there. I say if you go first game, honestly, I think it's less likely for him to get thrown out if you just do it first game, first pitch, get it out the way. Then I think you get your warnings and all that out the way there. But I do think, it's, again, context matters. Then you're saying ace for ace and things like that. Like, yeah, I mean, I think everyone will probably be expecting Wheeler to do it if it doesn't happen in that first game. So I do think, the context there matters as well. And so, I think it'd work out a lot better in general if you get it taken care of in the first game. So that way you don't potentially, I'd rather not even put that out there like that. I could potentially burn Wheeler in a start here when I don't absolutely need to.
I agree with you. Chally, would you like to defend your point anymore? You keep saying they won't throw him out, but I'm telling you, all you have to do is listen to Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio. They're talking about throwing at Acuna. And if the first pitch of the game he throws at Acuna, then they're going to throw him out of the baseball game. They're going to know it's intentional.
Nah. You brought up the Mets situation. That situation was completely different. And again, it context again matters and depends how you do it. Now, if Wheeler comes out and hits Acuna in the head with the first pitch, that's something different. Umpires know the rules. They know the unwritten rules. Again, you come out, you plunk them on the hip. The umpires know what it is. Acuna goes to first. We go on our way. Now, if Atlanta hits somebody again after that, then all hell's going to break loose. And then you're going to get into a throwing fest. But again, Atlanta knows it's coming. They have to know. If you're Acuna, Riley, Olsen, any of those guys, you know one of the three who's getting plunked. Somebody's getting hit. You know it's coming. They are not going to throw that. And again, the only way it would change is if they issue warnings before the game, and they have no reason to do so at this point. We talk about that Mets game. That whole thing was on high alert because of what was going on. And again, Noah Syndergaard threw the ball 3 feet behind the guy at his head. You know what he's trying to do there. Like, you do it professionally. You hit him in the hip. You hit him in the back. Everybody goes along their way. Not throwing Zach Wheeler out of the game.
You can't have Harper get hit 3 out of the last 4 games and 3 times in 4 games and not respond. Phillies look soft. They should have retaliated last night. I think with all the talk about it around the city, they'll have to retaliate. They asked Rob Thompson afterwards if he thought it was intentional. He goes, absolutely not. And they basically just said, no, he wasn't doing it intentional. Stryder's a good pitcher. I really hope that's dog and pony show shit. I really hope that's like, yeah, I do. I hope that it's, this is what it is.
You can't sit at the press conference and be like, yeah, we know he hit a guy on purpose, because then the follow-up question is, were you going to hit somebody tomorrow? And at that point, the cat's out of the bag, and you might as well be like, yeah, I'm drilling Acuna's ass as soon as he gets in the box. But at that point, that's when you get in trouble, because that's when the umpires come out and be like, you guys are warned before the game. Anybody gets hit, no BS, don't care. I don't care if it's a curveball, changeup, or whatever, we're throwing people. That's how you get into that mess. So, yeah, Rob Thompson's going to say that, out in public, and in the clubhouse, he's going to go up to Sanchez or he's going to go up to Wheeler, and he's going to say, do what you need to do. And that's what's going to happen. It's what it better fucking happen. I'll tell you that right now. Like you said, 3 out of the last 4 against your division rival, who we clearly have had beef with the last couple of years. If they leave town and one of those top 3 guys doesn't get plunked, I'm going to be pissed.
I'd be too. I would be absolutely pissed if they leave town and nobody gets hit on that team. You have to show them that you're not soft. You have to show them they cannot keep taking shots at your best player and you not retaliate. I am absolutely in agreement with you. And I'm not even at old school. You can't let it happen.
So I guess my question would be, if it doesn't happen the first at bat and you get into these tight games, like it's not going off of the first at bat here, and you keep getting in these situations because, I think we talked about it, Gene, earlier today as well. Like, obviously the game was tight. Phillies ultimately won 2-0. If you get later in the game and the game is still close, are you still of the same mindset?
I think you have to look
like it has to happen at some point in the game.
No, I think you have to look for your opportunity. If I'm the Philadelphia Phillies, I don't care. I will throw somebody in the 7th inning, 2 outs, nobody on. I will throw somebody out of my bullpen, whoever throws the hardest fastball, and I'll expect him to get ejected and throw a heater right into his ribs, right into his.
See, that's where you get in trouble. That's because, like, say if it's like a 9-2 game in the 7th, 2 outs, nobody on, and then Acuna comes up, and then like you said, you just bring it like, let's waste Corcoran. Just bring him in and just like that's how brawl start. Because that's how you get thrown out.
That's smoke right there. That's real smoke. I like that.
If I'm literally on the mound, I'm Zach Wheeler and Acuna's like, I'd be like, bro, just put your bat down. Like you ain't swinging it. Like you're getting plunked and you're getting plunked and you're going to first.
Problem with that is Acuna steals second base and puts the Braves in a position to take a 1-0 lead. I want to win these games. I know there's going to be a possibility that you're going to be able to get a better moment during the game and you're going to be able to use one of your relievers. I 100% use a reliever in the 7th inning in a 6-1 game, 2 outs, nobody on, and I don't care if you're winning or losing. I'm throwing right at his hip. I'm throwing as hard as I can right at his hip.
Losing makes it work. See, that's what I'm saying. You hit him in the hip, you hit him in the thigh, you slow him down for at least one at bat. It's going to swell up real quick. He's not going to be trying to get on base and just run right away. So it's got to be Wheeler Sanchez right off the bat.
Kelsey, he's been hurt for like a year and a half. I've been trying to race him. We're not arm wrestling. He's been hurt for a year and a half. So why are we arm wrestling?
When the hell did arm wrestling ever become a thing?
I don't know. She asked. But moving forward.
Get ready. Go over the top on G.
I want to know, and this is my question. Caitlin Clark is injured. She's out for 2 weeks at minimum. I want to know how much you think, and this is the question I want to ask, how much do you think the WNBA ratings plummet within the next 2 weeks without Caitlin Clark? Because this is what happens, right? Hold on. This is what happens. She's the biggest draw. I'm hoping that they do not plummet too much. I'm hoping that the fans that started watching with WNBA still stay in it, still support the Fever, still support different teams, different players. But I think the ratings are going to plummet. I think they're going to drop substantially in the next 2 weeks. I would love your feedback here.
I'm very curious about what the numbers look like every year. Because, I mean, obviously you're going to get your spike at the beginning, like the beginning of the year, everyone's interested in things like that. And you have to think, like, obviously the season really just started, but like this isn't the NBA where you got 82 games going on. So I think that every year you have probably some dip there. I do think it is going to be drastic this year compared to, where they've been at the last week, while she is out. But I'm curious of what the data says about like the drop off after that first week, compared to the end of the season playoff games, like stuff like that. But just to answer your question there in general, I think that you're going to see a substantial drop, but I don't think it's going to be instant, because I think a lot of people who are casually tuning in to see, Caitlin Clark play, or, just casually tuning in to see games, like, although it's out there that she's going to be out for 2 weeks, people may not even know that, she's injured, or when she's going to be coming back, or, things like that. So I do think there will be a drop off, because like you said, she is a draw, she's bringing a ton of odds to the WNBA, but I'd be curious to see if that's a natural thing year in, year out. And then also I'm curious to see if people still ultimately casually watch because they don't know, or if it's just they still want to be a part of watching the WNBA in general.
See, I think it's interesting right here, right? So they moved the game from the Care First Arena to the CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore for the Indiana Fever Washington Mystics game. The tickets are like nothing. They're $0 to go see the game. So like Caitlin Clark's not playing. They moved it. Like this was the NBA TV game of the night, right? Mm-hmm. It's on NBA TV. It's the only game. It was a primetime game. They wanted to get a primetime game out of Indiana versus Washington. No other game is being played. No one cares about Washington. Washington normally, they moved the game to be played in an arena that's big enough to hold the Caitlin Clark supporters that go out to visit, see her. You can get in the stadium for $4. It's not good. And that does not schedule well. Like I could sit front row tonight in the state for $33.78. Not kidding. Wish I could make that up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we saw the stuff last year with the arenas, like when she came to town. Atlanta went over and played where the Hawks play, and it was sold out. I mean, it's nothing new. And I'll just go back to what I keep saying is I hope this doesn't spark another round of BS discussions, but it probably will, because certain people just can't let things go. But I think you're going to see a dip. I do agree with Cottrell. I think maybe the first night, TV wise, you don't see a crazy dip because maybe people don't know she's hurt yet. But the fact that they moved it to the smaller arena, they didn't want to put that game on TV and have 2/3 of the stands empty, which is probably what's going to happen. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to start the new TV deal off and have her get hurt right out of the gate. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I would be shocked if it's not a substantial dip from where it's been the first couple weeks with her on TV, and and I think it's going to be noticeable. I think their home games will be fine. Because I think everybody will just still show up, but when to Gene's point, them traveling, I think you're going to see a big difference.
I do too. I just wanted to get your take on it, gentlemen. And if I'm asking everybody out there, if you've started watching WNBA basketball recently because of Caitlin Clark, and we can't deny that there's been plenty of people that have watched it more because of Caitlin Clark, please continue to support the league, continue to watch their games, tune in for Aaliyah Boston, tune in for Sophia Cunningham's, tune in for Kelsey Mitchell, tune in for whoever you want, but tune in to continue to watch and support the team. That's what I'll ask.
Agree. I mean, I can't tell you how many nights I come home from softball like 10 o'clock and like the Aces. I've watched more Aces basketball than any team in the league because of getting home later and they're always on. I'll watch Asia Wilson play basketball all day long, twice on Sunday. She's incredible. She's the best player on the planet. But it's to your point. I mean, there's I know everybody loves Caitlin and that's great, but it's to your point. There are still household superstars all over the league that are going to be on TV. Watch those games too.
Last WNBA topic I want to bring up as the Dallas Wings got their first win last night versus the Connecticut Sun. But that's not what I want to talk about. I don't care about that. They're 1-4. They're not a good team. What I do want to talk about is Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers, 21.7 assists, 80% shooting. She's the first rookie ever, second rookie ever to go 21-5 with 80% shooting, or 20-5 with 80% shooting. I think it's 25-5 with 80% shooting. Let me get the stat right. She was 21-7-5 with 2 steals, shot 80% from the field. Paige has looked great. She's definitely impacted the game over there in Dallas. I think Dallas is on an upward trajectory. Her first game, people gave her way more credit than she was due. After that, I think she's been better each game. She had a rough game versus Minnesota, but everyone has a rough game versus Minnesota. Their defense is great, but she's been good. And the game versus Seattle and the game versus Connecticut stand out to me. Give Paige Becker some credit. Paige Buckets is coming.
Yeah, Paige is one of those ones where I do think, again, we just talked about Caitlin. I think being able to see, a superstar the year before you kind of go out that went on that same run, went all the way to the national championship, played basically year-round basketball, and had to go into the league on a really bad team. And, there was that pressure to perform. She was essentially given the blueprint. I mean, I don't know the relationship between Paige and Caitlin, but they've played together before. Like, they were on the USA U19 team. So I don't know if Caitlin gave her some, words of encouragement or just kind of things like that. But like, you can tell that Paige is very comfortable at this point, and it's early. And I do think a big part of that is, when someone lays the groundwork for you ahead of time, it definitely makes things easier for you. And the nice thing with Paige is that she doesn't have to deal with the same scrutiny that Caitlin had to last year. Like, Paige is really in Dallas. She gets to play her game, and there are no expectations on her right away. Like, no one is as good as Paige is. Like, she was a bona fide, no doubt about it, #1 overall pick, but nobody is saying she's going to come in the league and be an MVP this year. Nobody's saying that she's going to come in and, take the Dallas to the playoffs her first year, things like that. So she really gets to come in, be comfortable, get into her own, but still handle her business and, ultimately get to the heights that we all think that she could reach there. So, I think it's definitely been good for the league how well Paige has been playing. But again, I think a large part of the credit definitely has to go to Caitlin just for paving the way. It's crazy to say, but a second-year player paving the way for somebody in a very similar situation there. So that's also a part of it too that I think is very good for the WNBA. Like, obviously Caitlin brings so much to the game, but this is just another thing that It's going to add to the greatness for the young kids getting straight into the league.
And
I agree.
Good.
No, I think Caitlin being the year before was probably the perfect situation for Paige. And she's in a very similar situation. She's in Dallas. It's a team they have to build around her. They got their superstar for the next, however many years. And she's going to have all the relationships that Caitlin has, like Cottrell mentioned, playing internationally. She's going to be part of that next group that gets turned over for USA basketball, like we've talked about with Caitlin, Angel, and all the younger players. So it's a great situation for her. I think Caitlin probably took some of the pressure off her by having the year that she had last year. But then, if we're being honest, still most of the eyes are still on Caitlin. So, Paige can come in, do her thing. Listen, if you've been following basketball in her career, even with the injuries, this isn't a surprise to anybody. If you're any kind of women's college basketball fan, we knew she was coming. You're waiting on Juju now, but it's none of this is all stuff we've just been waiting to come down the pipeline and waiting for all these young women to get into the league so we can really have all these rivalries and really make all these teams good. That's what the WNBA needs. It's the one thing the NBA has. I mean, you look at almost all WNBA team or NBA teams, and you would say they almost every team has a bona fide superstar. And that's what the WNBA needs. They need to have that type of parity, where, Dallas has one, obviously Indiana already has Caitlin, and, Las Vegas has Asian, and New York has Brianna. So it's once you do that and the entire talent level of the league continues to come up, then it gets more competitive, and then you're going to get even more casual fans because the basketball is just going to get better. And it's going to be competitive. You still have a couple teams every year in the WNBA that, like, halfway through the year, you're like, they're not making the playoffs. Like, they're already out of it. And that's the last thing
you don't even
you
need to
want.
go halfway through the year.
Yeah.
I can eliminate two teams already.
Yeah, you're probably right. So, but again, as we go, that's going to change. And then, they're already talking about expanding again. So, again, I think when we look back hindsight-wise, 20, 25, 30 years from now, I think you're going to look at this group and of Angel and Caitlin and Paige and Juju. It's really going to be the wave that I think really kind of put the league on their shoulders and propped it up and took it to where everybody thought it could be from its inception. And obviously Asian and all those people have also helped mightily as well. But I think this younger generation is what's really going to push the league over the top, and I think it'll be fun to watch.
So we're gonna move on to the NBA, but I want to give just one little fun point. And we often bring up Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese in a negative context. I want to give Angel Reese. I really, really loved what she did last night. And if you didn't see it, we talked about last year the hard foul that Alyssa Thomas put on Angel Reese, clotheslined her, like knocked her out. She got ejected from the game. Last night, Angel got her lick back. And if you didn't see it, Alyssa Thomas came around a screen and Angel Reese absolutely flattened her. And it was so hard that she was falling, and she ended up grabbing Angel's jersey on the way down. And she was not happy with the hit, but it was I remember that clothesline when we faced against each other a year ago. I'm gonna get my lick back. I thought that was an interesting response, and I liked it. So wanted to give that a quick shout. All right, let's move forward. NBA action. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Last night, we had Pacers beat the Knicks. They go up 3-1 in the series. The series moves back to New York. 2 nights ago, we had the Minnesota Timberwolves get beat by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tonight, Game 5, series moves back to Oklahoma City. Is it already inevitable that we're seeing an Oklahoma City, Indiana finals?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm with you.
I mean, I think we're almost there, but there's one series I think is it's very different. So we talk about like OKC and Minnesota. Game 5's happening right now. They have Oklahoma City, one way or another. Worst case scenario, they will have 2 opportunities to close it out at home. In the opposite series with the Knicks and the Pacers, the Knicks they have to win, of course, both their home games. You know, they got to win 5 and potentially win 7 to win the series. But they only got to go into the field house to beat the Pacers one time. And we've seen that they already can do that. Now, they haven't won a game at home yet. So, like, we haven't seen they can do that. But, like, we know the Garden's going to be rocking. Like, we know the Knicks have their backs against the wall here in this situation. And so, I mean, like, I think if a Game 5 Knicks win happens, like, I definitely think there's an opportunity for the Knicks to potentially still win the series in 7. However, on the flip side of things, like, I just find it so tough to see Minnesota even forcing a Game 6 to put themselves in that position. Like, OKC tonight is going to be absolutely out of control. And, you know, I think Minnesota is giving OKC their best shot. And, you know, OKC ultimately responded and, you know, won Game 4 the way that they did. So I don't really see a way that it goes the right way for the Timberwolves, but it's small of an opportunity as it is. I think the Knicks still have an opportunity to win this series, even being down 3-1.
I completely agree with you. I'll say this. Aaron Naismith right ankle sprain is something to look out for. He sprained his ankle in Game 4. If Aaron Naismith does not go, people talk about Tyrese Halliburton. He's 100% the most important person in this series. If you want to say Pascal Siakam's the second most for Indiana, I won't argue with you. But what Aaron Naismith's doing to tire out Jalen Brunson and the defense he's playing up and down the basketball court while shooting the lights out is something that should not be underestimated. Karl-Anthony Towns, everything talked about his knee, looks like he's going to be able to play. Aaron Naismith has an ankle injury, and if he cannot keep up with Jalen Brunson, I think that game is absolutely up for grabs. The series as a whole. Before I get the Knicks Pacers, because the game is tonight, I want to talk about Game 4, Minnesota, Oklahoma City. And the part that's frustrating, and I talked to Mo about this, is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is something I cannot explain. Game 3, he goes out there and looks like an absolute superstar. Now, I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's an Ant thing. I don't know what it is, but Oklahoma City definitely has a plan for Ant. It looks like Minnesota has no plans to be able to make it an easier ride for Anthony Edwards. When you have guys that score the basketball to the level Anthony Edwards go, but have bad decision-making, you just blitz that guy, get the ball out of his hands. Yep. And he often makes mistakes with the basketball. Anthony Edwards is not finding the right player when he gets blitzed. They are blitzing him, and they are blitzing him, and they are blitzing him. And they cannot run screens at him, because if they run screens at him, both guys are going directly to Anthony Edwards. He's making the wrong moves, the wrong plays, and Oklahoma City is capitalizing on it. If you told me going into Game 4, you were going to get performances out of the 3 players you got performances from for Minnesota, Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, all scoring 20-plus points and shooting the way they did from 3, I'd be like, okay, it's 2-2. We're not worried about that game. That's a game we won. We got Julius Randle. We got Anthony Edwards. That's a game we won. Not worried about that game. They lost that game. Julius Randle is another one you have to talk about. He has been guarded by Alex Caruso, and he is not making them pay. You cannot do that. If Alex Caruso is guarding Julius Randle, and you are not clearing the lane to allow Julius Randle to put him on the block, you're making a mistake. Control.
I mean, I think the biggest thing with Julius Randle is that I almost want to say he's kind of paranoid, you know, because you get Caruso on the block and they do get the clear out, but OKC does a really good job of sending a second person late or, you know, ultimately to a blind spot where Julius Randle can't see it coming and he gets stripped or he's throwing a bad pass because of the way OKC is rotating in. OKC's defense has been incredible in this series. And, you just to kind of bring it back to Ant here, the way that they're blitzing him is so different than just the traditional double team. Like they wait until he gets going to a certain side, and then they bring the person up to kind of force him to pick up his dribble right away. And then that's when he gets frantic and, throws a turnover or, ultimately puts up a bad shot and things like that. So I think it is something where, Chris Finch does have to do a better job of making his superstar more comfortable. But at the same time, like when you're a superstar and you're a guy that we're talking about being the face of the league, it also needs to get to a point where you just figure it out. And, I don't want to hear about, oh, well, he's young and, this is new for him and he's got plenty of time to figure it out and things like that. Like that was supposed to be for last year. Like you get to the Western Conference Finals last year, you don't perform well. It's like, hey, it's your first time getting there. You want to be better the next time around. This time, it just feels like this has been the case with him every series so far throughout the playoffs. It's like you get the games where Ant looks like he's incredible and you have the face of league conversations, but then you also get the games where he has 15, 18 points, things like that. And yeah, Minnesota may have won some of those games there, but at the end of the day, this is where it's going to come back to haunt you. So for him to be a superstar and, potential face of the league and things like that, as much as I like Ant, like I think it's important to have the conversations of, hey, you got to be held accountable here. And being young is no longer an excuse. There's a whole lot of guys in the league that are young, that are stepping up to the plate and figuring it out. Now, I'm not saying Anthony Edwards is Dwayne Wade by any means, but D Wade was young at a point, and what he did was step up, and he was down in the series when it looked like the Mavs were going to go take it over, and ultimately he said, "I got us." Put the team on his back 3 straight games, and won NBA Finals. So, and we're talking about you being the face of the league, being the best shooting guard in the league, and things like that. It's time for you to have a game where you put up 35 points, things like that. And even if you're not shooting efficiently, I want to see the effort. I want to see the shot attempts. I want to see you going downhill and things like that. So it's on Ant's shoulders, especially when you talk about the production that your role players are giving you, like you mentioned, Gene.
Uncle Shally, I want to read and react. Okay,
do it.
I want everybody to look at Shally's facial reactions to what I'm about to read. Okay.
Oh boy.
Kitchell, help me out. Who are the best 2 players on Oklahoma City, in your opinion?
Right now, it's Shea and J-Dub.
Okay. 74 total points, 15 assists, 7 turnovers combined between J-Dub and SGA in a pivotal game 4. Are you ready? You ready for this one, Shal? That's pretty good stats, right? 74, 15. Not bad.
Yeah.
Combined 21 points, 10 turnovers, 9 assists. That's Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards in a pivotal game 4.
It's not going to cut it in
more
game.
Turnovers than assists.
Well, I mean, we know Randall's not an assist guy. So, I mean, listen, I think, especially on, but us, I say the 3 of us. I think we've been very fair with Anthony Edwards. I think a lot of people go way too nuts one way with him, and I think other people give him way too much hate. But we've talked about it consistently on the show. His biggest problem is his consistency. And, I think you guys both mentioned things that are, really important. There's nights that he looks like, hey, he's going to be the guy that's going to be the face of the league and really take that mantle and just go run with it. And then there's other nights, like you said, he has a game 4 and you're just like, what the hell? Like, and it's, I don't know if it's maturity. I don't know what it is. I mean, there's times I listen to his press conferences and I think he gets it. And other times I'm like, he's got to grow up, and I don't know if that's part of it. And, but he's consistently inconsistent. I mean, we
a press conference that you thought he gets it, because I never hear a press conference where I think Ant gets it.
I think there's definitely certain times like I've heard him answer questions, and maybe maybe I'm giving him too much benefit of the doubt because I'm expecting him to say something like goofy, and then he says something actually like, mature and rational. I'm like, all right, that's a good answer. But, we talked about it. We talked about it when we previewed the series, and all three of us agreed he was going to have to be special for them to have a shot. And, and it was going to be special, maybe not, to your point, not 40 points every night, but, like Cottrell said, still taking your shots, getting assists, getting to the basket when you can. And he was going to have to be that way every night. And he hasn't been. He hasn't shown up like that. And, they're down 3-1, and I expect him to get closed out tonight. And, I hate to say it, but I mean, I would say Minnesota's had two fortunate runs the last year. And I think, they, it's not the easiest place to get more superstars to come. I do think there's probably a lot of people that want to play with him, but you're not guaranteed to get this chance every year. And like Cottrell said, you thought a lot of this would have went away last year with the jitters being there the first time, and then coming back the second year, you don't expect to see it again. And here we are having pretty much the same discussions we had last year about him. So I think that's frustrating. And if you're a Minnesota fan, I think everybody loves him, but at the same time, I think he shoulders a lot of the blame what's going on in this series. And not to mention OKC's just a better team, but he's not shown up to the level he had to, that we knew he was going to have to win this series. And here we are.
But that's my thing though. I knew that Oklahoma City was the better team. Like I think we all agreed there. We all said OKC in 5 or 6, whatever the case was. And that's okay. But I think the part for me is when you're a superstar like that, if you lose a series and ultimately it's a 4-1 series, if you average 30 on 50% shooting on every night, it's like, hey, they were just a better team. Like you tried to do what you could do. And, ultimately that was the case. But like game 4 was a tight game. Like if Ant can put up some points in the fourth quarter there, like maybe that swings another way. Or if Ant takes the responsibility of taking Shea down late, you taking him one-on-one down late as he was going off, like Gene read off the numbers there. He had a great game. So did J-Dub. Like at some point you just have to put it on your shoulders as a superstar. And we've seen Ant do it. Like for me, I think it's one thing if I haven't seen him do it and I'm talking about potential or, he's just the best player on this team, so he needs to step up. But that's not the case with him. Like Anthony Edwards is a future MVP caliber player in this league. He's a first team all NBA caliber player in this league right now. So it's time for him to make that step and take that step in these games where you're the difference. It's one thing if, the supporting cast is the difference. Like if Chet's out playing Naz Reid, like I understand, like that's something that you kind of expect to happen there. But when the game's tight, it's a 7-8 point game, and you can't get your superstar to at least put pressure on OKC's defense to defend everybody else differently. That's when you run into problems, and that's the problem that I'm having with Ant right now.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think he's made so many mistakes in this series, and I don't want to beat him up anymore. But I do want to ask you guys this question, and this question will be posted on the Wire2Wire Facebook page. I wanted to wait to this show. I wanted to announce it to you guys before we get into the Knicks Pacers a little bit deeper. But it's a start bench cut. I don't know if you guys seen it already, but we will be posting it on the page. Start bench cut, franchise edition. Franchise edition. Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic. Start, bench, cut. Franchise edition.
I think for me, no matter how I slice it, I'm starting Luka.
It's so interesting because they did this with Mo, William, and Carmike. And all three of them have cut Luka.
Oh, that's
I'm not cutting Luka.
That's insane.
I could see the argument you want to say with Luka's lack of defensive prowess and all that stuff that you might argue me to me that you would go Tatum over him, but I don't see a world where I'm cutting Luka.
Ant nor Jason Tatum are taking the Mavs team last year to the finals. So, Luka's my guy. I'm starting Luka. Between Ant and Tatum, I'd probably bench Tatum, and I cut Ant.
This is easy for me.
Okay.
I'm going the same way, and for a lot of the reasons why we just talked about. Ant 2 years from now, maybe it's a different story, but I'll go with the guy who's won and as you know a more consistent all around game most of the time. So,
I started Luka, I benched Anthony Edwards, and I cut Jason Tatum. And it's not I know you're cracking up because you guys think I am a hater of Jason Tatum.
There's no surprise here.
But that's not why I did it. If you need to see, and it's funny, it's kind of like blowing up right in my face. But if you need a game, someone to take over a game, I just trust Anthony Edwards to do that more than Jason Tatum.
I don't know how you can say that.
My thing is I've seen, and again, Jason Tatum has been a great product of the Boston Celtics' ability to create a great roster around him and great coaching, and all this stuff has been great around Jason Tatum. For me, I look at it like I remember Jason Tatum's rookie year when he took the Cavs 7, and he was going back and forth with LeBron in that series. Like, I think that Tatum, he hasn't had to do those kinds of things with this Celtics team because they are so good. I don't think it's that Tatum can't or that he doesn't. I just think a lot of the time he doesn't have to. And of course, that was different this year with how, things played out in that Knicks series. But I just think as a whole, Tatum, I've seen Tatum show up in big time moments. And Ant, I see it sometimes, but then other times it fades away and I don't know what I'm getting from him. At least with Tatum, I know he may not shoot the ball well, but I know he's still going to at least shoot.
See, it's very interesting. The chat is absolutely going in. But here, look, let me just put it to you this way. If you remove Jason Tatum from the Celtics and replaced him with Anthony Edwards or Luka, does anyone doubt that they win the world championship last year?
No.
I feel like if you put Jason Tatum on Minnesota or on Dallas last year, they don't make it as far as they made it. And that's how I look at it.
Definitely not Dallas. Minnesota, I could hear Minnesota. Just how everything felt, I could hear Minnesota.
And Dallas doesn't get as far with Anthony Edwards instead of Luka either. It's the same argument.
That's why I started Luka. I started Luka. I benched.
We're all starting Luka. Luka's not the Luka's
for me,
not
that
the
was easy.
conversation.
Starting Luka was the easy part.
He said they aren't winning it with Ant. Be real. I don't think Jaylen Brown was the better player in the Eastern Conference Finals and the Finals. I completely disagree with this.
Kyle,
completely disagree with this.
I know you're a Celtics fan, but I mean, you guys might have won last year if you had. I don't want to be too crazy here.
They could have won with Tom and Tatum. I'm kidding.
Lauri Markkanen could be a Celtic last year, and they would have been fine. Like, that Celtics team was so good last year as a whole. And it's not to diminish what Jason Tatum did or what he means to that team. Like, that's not what this is. But as far as like replacing pieces, like they 100% win last year with Ant. Like, no doubt about it.
Okay. All right. Well,
I think we agree with that. But then again, that's not saying anything good about Ant then either.
To me, I think it's a very similar conversation of what we had with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles quarterback situation in the Super Bowl. It's like, oh, well, like,
are you comparing Jason Tatum to Jalen Hurts to make me like him more?
Maybe.
Sounds like what you're doing.
I'm just saying. I think the parallels are there. Just because
I admittedly told you that 13 quarterbacks, maybe 15 quarterbacks in the NFL could have won the Super Bowl last year with Philadelphia.
But to your point, though, like you did say that. But in that same token, we also say Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
100%. I think he's top 5.
So 13 13 other guys can do his job, but he's one of the top 5 in the league. Like, that's how I feel about Tatum with the Celtics, honestly.
By the way, I do find it very interesting that my takes go to the next level. They go to the next level. I don't know if Saquon Barkley was listening to the show, but he was on Exciting Mics, and he talked about the Philadelphia Eagles being a top 5 team of all time. And all of a sudden, it's all over ESPN and Fox. And who was the one that told you that the first week of March? Who was the guy? I was the first one in the whole world to say this. No one said it before me. Now it's on ESPN, FS1. They're having conversations. Speak. I said this. This was me. I don't want to get into that conversation right now, but the Philadelphia Eagles this past year, now I'll hear an argument for like the 88, 89 49ers. That team was ridiculous, like unhurt ridiculous. I'll hear an argument for other teams, but the Philadelphia Eagles are without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the greatest 5 teams to ever step on a football field. That's it. And Nick Wright, by the way, if you watch Nick Wright still, he is absolutely a troll. I hate that he shows up on my TikTok feed. I can't stand it because he put the 2022 Chiefs over the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. I'm like, I know you're a Chiefs fan, dude. Stop it. You're talking about the paint champs, the champs that won on the paint surface in Arizona would have beat the 2024 Eagles. You're out of your friggin' mind. Try your mouth. All right. Off topic. Back to what I was saying.
Jason Tatum, Jalen Hurts. That's the comparison right there.
I mean, I get it. And once again, I'm fine. I have Jason Tatum 8 through 10. That's where he's at on my list. That's not crazy to have him 8 through 10. And people think I hate him, and I'm a hater because you guys overrate him. Not you guys.
No,
but like the world overrates him.
A couple of weeks ago, you didn't want to put him in your top 10, so we had that discussion.
No, we said top 8. I said, I don't have him 8. I have 9, 10. And I did the math, and I have him 9 through 10, depending on how you look at it. And you know what's crazy when I say this? I'm telling you guys laugh at me all you want. I want you to really think in your heart of hearts. Take everything else away. Take the Celtics away. Take Jaylen Brown away. Take the culture away. Take everything else away. If you had the opportunity for one season to have Jason Tatum or Ja Morant, are you just confidently saying Jason Tatum is a better basketball player? Look, I know Ja gives you off the court. I know he's a moron. I get it. But are you confidently saying that?
Yeah.
That's such like a baited question though, because you're taking all the negatives of Ja out of the conversation. Like Jason Tatum doesn't have off-court issues. Like
I didn't put Ja ahead of him. I'm just saying.
My point is, you're boosting him up because everything that would make people hesitant to take him, you're like, oh, we'll just take that out of the conversation, like it didn't happen.
It's a fair statement.
The nice thing is that we're gonna see here real soon about what this Celtics team is going to look like, because their team is going to look very different next year than how it does this year. Second apron is they NBA finally got something right with figuring out salary and things like that. And the second apron is going to make this Boston team come back down to earth. And we're going to see, it won't be necessarily next year because of the injury, but when Tatum is back, we're going to see a lot heavier load on his shoulders because of the roster change is going to happen in Boston.
Derek White's gone. Look, you be ready.
Porzingis is going to be
going nowhere next year.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's gonna be hurt.
All right. Got to talk about the other series, and then we'll get into trivia. Other series, Indiana versus New York. Let's talk about Tyrese Halliburton. Let's talk about Mr. 32, 15, and 12 with 0 turnovers. We can take the overrated shit and throw it in the garbage because Tyrese Halliburton has been on another planet this postseason. They say regular season is where stars are made, and the postseason are where superstars are made. Tyrese Halliburton has went from star to superstar in one postseason. No doubt about it. But when you look at that Pacers team and you look, I'll say this right now. We talk about importance, right? If you are ranking the Pacers like scale of importance, what would be your 1, 2, 3? What would be your 1, 2, 3, 4? What would be your players? 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe not players, situations, whatever. What are the scale of importance for the Indiana Pacers? Where do you have it? Tyrese Halliburton, and then what? Because Halliburton's one, right? We all agree there.
Yeah.
Who's two?
I think it has to be Pascal, just based on, I mean, I look at the game he had 39 in. That first half, they didn't really play well. And Siakam was the one that ultimately kept them afloat. And obviously, you talk about Hallie having a great game there, but I think with Halliburton, of course, he's their most important player. But when he's setting stuff up, like within the offense, things like that, like I think so much of it goes through Siakam, and the wings are important. Like Aaron Nesmith's a great player, Nembhard's a great player, but like those guys, in my opinion, like with that Indiana team, they're interchangeable, and that's why Indiana can always go so deep into their like rotation every single game. Like they're playing 10, 11 guys every single game because all their wings are going to give you the exact same thing. They're going to give you, the ability to make a jump shot. They're going to play tough as hell on defense. They're going to be able to switch basically 1 through 4, and they're going to be in the passing lanes, and they're going to run in transition. So like all your wing players doing the exact same thing there. Now, of course, all of them are important, but for me, Pascal would be my number 2 guy there. Probably would go Nesmith, and then ultimately I'd say Nembhard, but I honestly would be starting to probably lean Mathurin just because of what he brings them off the bench. Like he's that spark off the bench. He's the instant offense when things aren't necessarily going the right way for Indiana if they're playing, just slow down basketball, things like that. But again, those guys are so interchangeable. It's tough to kind of have a definitive ranking with them.
Okay, by the way, Kyle Edwards, I need you to stop in the chat. Knock it off. You're stealing my goddamn takes. Do not steal my takes. That's my take. I love you. I'm kidding. You know the number 2 most important thing of the Indiana Pacers is Rick Carlisle. What he's done to coach Tibbs in this series is you got to watch it. It's so awesome to watch. As a guy that loves basketball, that breaks this stuff down, it's 100% Carlisle. Watch what he does to Brunson on both sides of the court. Brunson in the last 5-6 minutes of the game yesterday or 2 days ago had 3 shots. Why? Why is that? Because Rick Carlisle has him gassed. He is done. He is working on both sides of the court. They are running screens to him. And then when he's trying to run, they work so hard to get Jalen Brunson off a screen with Naismith going above the screen. They're blitzing them. They started over. Carlisle is making Tibbs look like a moron. And if you're a New York fan, you got to figure out a way to get Tom Thibodeau out of town with all this success. Because it's very tough because you're successful and you're moving forward and you're progressing, but he's holding you back. And you might not want to believe me until you look at a coach like Rick Carlisle, what he's doing with lesser talent. And I'm sorry, it's lesser talent. Let's call a spade. Because if you line up the Knicks and you line up the Pacers, the Knicks are more talented. There's no doubt about it in my mind. None. We're picking names off a wall. How far down is Mikal? How far down is OG? How far down is Cat? Like, even if you said, bro, I'm not giving you Tyrese Halliburton over Jalen Brunson, but even if you said Halliburton over Brunson, it goes Brunson, Halliburton, Brunson. And then the next 3 players, Siakam might fit in there. The point being is Mikal, OG, Cat, Siakam, that's your next 4. And the talent is on the New York side, and the Knicks make the mistake. Charlie, tell me why Carlisle is more important than any other player outside Halliburton.
I mean, I think it's a valid point, and I think you highlighted a lot of it. I think he's a very good strategical coach. I mean, listen, he's been in the league for a long time. I think people forget how long he's been coaching and how many good teams he's coached. And we said it last year with Tibbs, and to Gene's point, he's very. I mean, what? What'd it say?
Instead of Halliburton over Brunson, if only for his superior hairline. And no, it's not a rerun. Like I posted in the comments. I don't know what is it. You want to talk about each comment? I'm sorry. Hold on. Let's go up. Everyone's copying Steph with the threes. They need to be copying the Pacers. Rick Carlisle's a genius. I just said that. I agree with you, man. Like, I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me put more chats on.
I think Rick Carlisle has absolutely shown that he's a more versatile coach. I think Tibbs is a little stuck in his ways. You know, we talked about it last year. He always, you know, he's only playing 6 or 7, 8 guys. I think Carlisle has a team and a rotation that is more, you know, is set up to more succeed in the playoffs. And I think you're seeing it. And again, I think he's gone, you know, like you guys were mentioning with the screens and the blitzing, and he's just gotten to the point where he's like, Jalen Brunson's just not going to beat me. Like, if you can find somebody else to do it, and you guys can move the ball quick enough, and you know, other guys can knock down jumpers or knock down threes, we'll live with it. But we're not going to let Jalen Brunson go for 40 every night and beat us. And that's where we're at. I mean, it's I think he's done a great job. You know, and I do think he should probably get more recognition than he's gotten so far. But I think you also have to look at it. You know, you look at, you know, the steps that Halliburton's taken, and some of those guys that Cottrell's mentioned. You know, guys that have gone from being good, you know, good NBA players to, you know, really having their time to shine now and showing what they can do, and they're playing above their heads. And you know, you have to give the nod to the coaching sometimes when that happens. We'll get back into the Knicks Pacers. It is 8:02. We are 2 minutes behind. I apologize. By the way, this is a GOAT comment right here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't know, Cottrell's last name is not Sprewell. It is Simpson, and we call him on the show Homer Simpson because he's an absolute Ohio homer. Whether it's Ohio State, Cleveland Guardians, Cleveland Browns, he's all – the Cavaliers, even though he doesn't claim them anymore. All right, it's trivia time. Shall we? Are you ready? I'm ready. I know you're ready. You're the most prepared guy on the show. He's got notes. He's ready to rock and roll. Let me turn. Guys, listen, before anybody gets nuts on me. Oh, see Dayton, Ohio over here. He wants to hang out, Control.
My guy, James.
But I'm turning the comments off for a minute, because we don't look at the comments during trivia, so no one can cheat. It's me versus Cottrell tonight. Right now, I'm on a little bit of a run, so let's see if I can hold it down. Comments are off. I apologize in advance to everybody watching in the chat. Don't be mad at me. All right, we're good. All right. So kind of like, you know, last week, this is going to be the first 1 to 6. I have the top 20 in case we need to go to a tiebreaker, because there's a possibility we might hear. That easy. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all household names, so I think you guys should rip through this. So from the off season to right now, so pretty much 2025. Okay. Top 10 Major League Baseball selling jerseys so far, as we sit right now. Okay. Per Nike, per Fanatics. Gene, you are first. Floor is yours. I think this is pretty easy. I think a lot of them are absolutely just no-brainers. Do I take the low-hanging fruit Shohei? He's got to be number 1. Shohei Ohtani is number 1.
And I feel like I have to take the MVP on the other side.
Yep.
Aaron Judge.
That's a no doubt about it. Aaron Judge is incorrect. Just kidding. He's number 5. Bryce is still one of the most popular players in baseball. You cannot go to a Phillies game without seeing that number 3. Give me Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper. Wait, did 7. You say Judge was 5? Judge is 5. What? Bryce Harper is number 7.
I'm going to take the guy that's also in the New York market, but he switched teams, so I feel like a ton of people had to buy his jersey. Go Juan Soto.
Juan Soto, number 3. Give me Mookie. Mookie Betts, number 4.
Mookie Betts, number 4. See, I got some guys who I feel like they may be there, but I don't know for sure. Like, let's see here. I don't know. Do I want to go? Like, what positions I want to go with here? Mookie's there. Let's see. Nobody on there.
I'll give you 10 seconds, sir.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I will ultimately go with Paul Skeens.
I got one in the chamber.
Paul
He's a good one.
Skeens
I didn't
is the
think about
first incorrect answer. He's not in the top 10.
The problem is the Pirates fans are absolute dog shit. He's probably top 20, but he's not. It's so ridiculous. He's not top 10. That should be the number one selling jersey in Pittsburgh. There should be 1 million people with a Paul Skeens jersey. That is not your fault, Control.
I have a fun, only because I saw this in the article. I have a fun fact about him that I will release after we're done here.
He's on another world.
I know, like 9 Ks tonight, I think.
Give me do I go with the current Brave or the former Brave? Both of them should be on the list.
That's one of the routes I was going to.
It's one or the other. Give me Ronald Acuna Jr.
He's probably
Ronald Acuna Jr. is number 9.
Oh shit.
4-2 Gene.
All right. Bro, I got a couple guys here that I'm thinking about. Do I want to go with the young guys? Do I want to go with the guys who are a little bit more? You know what? Screw it. Give me Ellie De La Cruz.
Ellie De La Cruz is not in the top 10.
I think I gave you one, bro.
I don't think he's there. I want to go with the other one.
All right. Do I not go with it because he doesn't think he's there?
I mean, hey, the last two
the guy hit
guesses
a grand slam to win the World Series.
The last 2 guesses that I've had have been wrong. So I mean, it probably is on the list.
I don't understand how he wouldn't be on the list. If I lived in LA and a guy hit a walk-off grand slam to win the World Series, I would have his jersey. I would buy that jersey to wear to the parade. Give me Freddie Freeman. He's got to be on the list.
I think the market's too saturated.
You might be right.
Freddie Freeman is number 2.
God damn.
Number 2. That's exactly what they did in LA. They were just like, screw this. The guy hit a grand slam. The world.
Look. I get it. I mean, he's been there for a while now. They got Shohei jerseys. I mean, they got Mookie jerseys. I'm like, it might not be enough to go around there.
Did LA have 1, 2, and 3?
1, 2, and 4.
That's ridiculous.
Juan Soto was number 3. Mookie was 4.
I can't believe Judge isn't 2.
I think Judge has been there so long too. I mean, I think everybody has a Judge jersey. 5-2. You got to get one here, brother. Gene's one away from victory.
I know.
I got a guy in the chamber, bro.
You got somebody in the chamber.
In the chamber.
See, I got players. I just
stop second guessing.
Let's go. Go with your gut. Superstar. I'll take Fernando Tatis.
That's the guy.
Not in the top 10.
See?
Oh, that's who I was picking. 100%. That was the one in the chamber for me. Give me, you know what? I feel like it's still close. I feel like the Texas fans are still there. Give me Corey Seager. World Series MVP Corey Seager.
Not in the top 10.
Ooh. All right, now I'm kind of running out at this point. There's 3 left, you said?
There's 3 left.
Wow. I'm kind of running out.
2 out of the 3 kind of surprised me. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I will go with this one's probably not going to be there, but I'm trying to go logic here. Switch teams, went to a crazy baseball city. Give me Kyle Tucker.
I like that.
Kyle Tucker, great guess. Not in the top 10.
Oh.
All right. I'll go with my favorite baseball player that's not a Philadelphia Philly. Mr. Bobby Witt Jr.
Also a great guess. Not in the top 10.
I hate when it's a great guess, but you're wrong.
That one was
actually wrong.
That one was a little surprising to me as well, because I thought he'd be in here.
My thing is Casey, like I feel like he probably doesn't have the market outside of KC, although he is great.
You're right.
All right, we gotta get something here. Let's just go through something.
I am shocked we stalled here.
Um,
Why are you shocked we stalled here? You said 2 out of 3.
One, yeah, but one is like duh. And the other two. Well, I mean, I'll give you hints after this.
No, you can give him. He's down 5-2. Give him the hint. I don't want it.
One guy is a rookie.
A rookie?
One guy has been up for a really long time, and the other guy is a superstar in a big city.
Wait, a rookie this year?
Yeah, pretty sure.
I don't know who that could be.
He's the most surprising person on the list.
Okay.
I
didn't confuse me more. I'm just gonna look for the old player.
Superstar in a big city.
Sorry, his rookie year was last year. Sorry, just to be accurate. I can't explain why.
Okay.
Why I forgot.
The big city one is the one that's the one I feel like I need to get.
It's the dull one.
The dull one?
Duh.
Oh.
I'll go Mike Trout.
Nope, Mike Trout's not in the top 10.
When you said duh, I'm thinking LA big city, Mike Trout. We know who.
I don't know who. Was a rookie last year? Skeens was a rookie last year.
Already guessed.
I know. I'm not. Wait, is it Yamamoto?
Is that your guess?
Yeah.
Yamamoto is number 10.
That's ridiculous.
I cannot believe that the LA Dodgers have 4 of the top 10.
4.
Who's the duh one we're missing?
I'll do the duh one last. This one, number 8, Jose Altuve.
Never would have guessed it.
What
the chat said.
Cottrell. I can't believe you didn't get this. Number 6,
Jose
Frankie
Ramirez?
Lindor. Frankie Lindor.
Oh,
that is a duh. That is a duh. Look at Kyle Edwards nailing him out. Ohtani, Judge, Harper. That was the exact order we went in. Aaron Judge, Acuna. Look at that, bro. Trout.
To make it even crazier, Trout's not in the top 20. Clayton Kershaw was 11.
What the hell were they selling?
every LA bought Dodgers jerseys, bro. I don't know. Tatis Jr.'s 12, Ellie's 13, Gunnar was 14, Skeens 15. To make it even crazier, Kiki Hernandez is 16.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Corey Seager 17, Bobby Witt Jr. 18, Anthony Volpe 19, and Manny Machado was 20.
How does Anthony Volpe sell jerseys?
I don't know. So anyway, Paul Skeens, though, the fun fact about Paul Skeens has sold more jerseys of his own outside of his city than any other player in Major League Baseball.
That makes so much sense because Pittsburgh is such a shit baseball town.
Yep.
And by the way, just let me be very clear. Pittsburgh is a shit baseball town because they're a shit franchise. That has nothing to do with their fan base.
I wouldn't even say it's well, part of it's a fan base, but I wouldn't even say franchise. I mean, it's a franchise that was very successful. The ownership sucks. Sucks.
And because the problem is this, right? If the Pittsburgh Pirates or the Cincinnati Reds actually went out and spent money and actually went out and built a team, their fans would show up.
Cincinnati's
when they were competitive, they did show up.
Yep, they're a great baseball town.
Like
you can say what you want, man. Pittsburgh's a great sports city. Like you see it with the Penguins, you see it with the Steelers. If that guy would spend money and put a good team on the field, they have the nicest stadium in Major League Baseball. People would show up. I promise you. The guys just don't spend money.
I legit vividly remember when Cincinnati was when they had Winker and Castellanos was still there, like fans were showing up to Cincinnati to watch them play baseball.
Even before that, the couple years when they had Dunn and all those guys.
I would say more recently.
Yeah, they do. Cincinnati's a great baseball team.
Bro, I seen a comment the other day that Adam Dunn walked so Kyle Schwarber can run, and it made me smile. It made me smile.
It's funny. Oh, good old days. Adam.
Cincinnati's opening day is crazy. It is absolutely insane over there during opening day.
That's the problem.
They tailgate like it's college football, like literally all day long.
Honestly, not for nothing, dude. Another gorgeous baseball stadium.
Great American.
It just goes to show you how much money you still make as an owner if you get 10 to 15,000 people to show up every night. That you're still making that much money that you're just like, fuck it, I don't care. Like that guy's making enough of a profit owning the Pittsburgh Pirates that he's just like, you know what? I'm not even going to put effort in or spend money. So 45,000 people show up.
Young talent to build around. They have
young talent all the time.
Cruz, and then they end up selling them because no one wants to resign there because they don't build a team.
Correct. Garrett Cole was drafted by the Pirates. Like there's a list, bro. It's sickening. It's sickening. We were talking about it the other night. Like we went back, I think it was the last 15 drafts and like their first 3 rounds. They have an absolute all-star team. All-star team if they would have kept talent and could pay it. All-star team.
It's absurd. That's
why Pittsburgh sucks.
Good trivia question this week, though.
There should be I feel like there should be a
floor.
There should be a floor for sure. But 2, I deal with it in Cleveland, not as much because they spend money sometimes. But if you're an owner, and I don't know how you make this happen, but like owners at a point should be forced to sell their teams. Like I think about what happened in Cincinnati. Like they were talking about moving the team out of Cincinnati because people they were trying to strong arm the fans and say, hey, like if you don't go to games, we're just going to move the team out the city. And that's when they were actually good. It was like, what are we thinking about here? That I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you make it happen, but like there'd be so many more great baseball cities if just different ownership.
Completely agree with you. Everything you just said. Everything that you just said. And that baseball needs a salary floor. And if they get, and by the way, I'm going to say something that's going to be very mean, and I don't mean it to be mean. I don't. If you live in a shit town like Cleveland and you don't want to go see a baseball game,
shots fired.
What else is there to do in that town? There's nothing to do. If you've ever been to Cleveland, I've been to Cleveland to go to the Q to watch LeBron with my buddy Nick. It's a wasteland. When LeBron left there, so many of the friggin' businesses went out of business, like restaurants and stuff, because they were selling so much downtown.
That part is true.
I just everything I said was true. Nah. What the hell are you doing on a Cleveland summer day? Go to a ballpark for $26 to watch a baseball game. That sounds like a great idea to me.
It's still a great stadium. That stadium's held up over a long time.
Yeah, it has.
It's not that old. It's only 28 years old or something like that.
I'm just saying what Joakim Noah said 10 years ago.
He was wrong too.
In case you live in a shithole like Cottrell, but
he doesn't live in Cleveland.
Columbus is Cleveland Junior, bro. I got bad news for you.
It's Cleveland Senior.
It's Cleveland Light.
I'll tell you, I can't get too far into the story, but I don't know why we thought it would be a good idea.
I already know what you're about to say.
I don't know why we thought this would be a good idea, but we went down to see the Cavs play, and we got down there the night early, and we decided to go to a Cleveland strip club, and that was a mistake. That was not a good idea. We were in there for 26 minutes tops. Gone. Girl came over. I'm like, here's $20. Please put it back on. No way.
Oh, God. No, I mean, here's the funniest thing, and I've heard this even talked about before. It's been talked about. It's funny to Gene's point about stuff making it to national news. Go really watch the opening 5 minutes of Major League.
Okay.
And but actually pay attention and just look how depressing even the opening credits of that movie are. Of the just showing different parts of Cleveland. Dead serious. Everybody, when this show is over, just go plop Major League on for the first 3.5 minutes and to Gene's point, tell me you'd want to go there.
Joe Kim Noah said, do people really vacation there? All right. So we got to move back. So I want your final predictions. We talked about, and we'll get right to the NFL, but I want your final predictions. I am going to stay with my final predictions. I'm going Thunder in 5 and Knicks in 7. We know Control doesn't like to. We know Control doesn't like to jump off the bus until the wheels are completely off. He was calling a Cleveland comeback. So I know Control staying with his Thunder in 5. Well, he had Thunder in 6. He was the only one that had 6.
Control actually likes watching the wheels like roll down the street. That's how loyal he is.
That's good. That's this. Kendrick wrote the song about Control.
I said Thunder in 5 originally. I originally said Knicks in 7. I'm coming off of that.
Pacers in 6.
Yeah, I think the Knicks will get it done tomorrow night. I don't think they get back out of Indiana. I just don't. I don't. I think Indiana closes out at home.
Okay. Control?
I am going to come off of OKC in 6. I'm coming over to OKC in 5. As far as the Knicks series go,
tightening lug nuts.
You know what? I'm in. I got Knicks in 7.
Let's go.
I got Knicks in 7.
I thought he said Knicks in 6. I'm like, that's not even possible.
No, I got Knicks in 7, man. They're gonna figure it out. They're gonna figure it out game 5, and where there is a will, there is a way. And Jalen Brunson's gonna will the Knicks to victory in 6. Then Indiana get the booty hole tightness going back to New York.
All right,
Diddy, relax with the booty hole comments.
Yeah, Diddy party. If it is OKC in Indiana, is it the lowest rated finals ever?
No. I'll watch it.
In the modern times.
No. Denver Miami was horrible. No, it's not going to be worse than Denver Miami. No.
I think it's going to be close.
I think Oklahoma City and Indiana will be some really fun basketball games to watch. I'm not saying that basketball is going to be bad. I'm telling you, I'm asking you how many casual viewers are going to show it. But Bill, what I'm saying is this NBA playoffs, especially the second round, was one of the greatest second rounds the NBA's ever seen. They have so many people bought in. And if you've been watching this Pacers-Knicks series, how great have those games been? Like, all of them have been great basketball games. I think, and here's a statement. Oklahoma City is absolutely the better basketball team, but there's not many teams that match up with them as well as the Indiana Pacers do. Tyrese Halliburton is a matchup nightmare. The way they run, the Thunder run, it could absolutely be a very fast, high-paced series, high-scoring. Now, the Thunder are great at jumping lanes. Indiana's going to really have to be careful with the basketball and where they're passing it. But I trust Halliburton to distribute the basketball in the right places.
My thing is that OKC has a great fan base, and they're going to be locked in. I know OKC is not like a crazy market or anything like that, but like we've seen Oklahoma City in the finals before. Like I think, you know, obviously it's different when Kevin Durant's there, but like they have the reigning MVP there. Like I think OKC is still a draw, though they're not a big city. And then as far as Indiana goes, I mean, if you just keep slaying the giant, like I think people are still going to keep watching. Like it's not this miraculous run where, you know, Indiana's going up against teams where their best players just get hurt and everything falls their way. Like, you know, similar to how it has been with Minnesota. Like right now they're taking everything to the Knicks, and the Knicks are 100% healthy. And, you know, these games have been so heavily watched in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if they're necessarily like breaking records, but the just TV ratings for those games have been off the charts. So I think people are still going to tune in to watch Indiana and OKC finals. One, because it's going to be entertaining, but two, because they've been playing great basketball and they've put it all on display already. And I think people are going to be interested to see what happens. Like, I think the NBA is better when you have as much parity as you have. Like, I think this is the first time in NBA history where you're going to have 7 different champions in 7 years. Like, that is a good thing for the NBA because it's not predictable and you don't know what's going to happen. And I think when you don't know what's going to happen, that's ultimately good for ratings.
I'm with you, and I'm really looking forward to it. And if you're talking about Indiana, they slayed Giannis in the first round. They were not favored in that series. They slayed Cleveland in the second round. They were obviously not favored in that series. And it looks like they're slaying New York in the third round. They're obviously not favored in that series. We're going to go to Oklahoma City Thunder, and they will obviously not be favored in that series. Somebody likes to watch Cinderella. All right, we got to move forward. PFF came out with their rankings, and there's just a few rankings I just want to go over. And I want to get your initial thoughts on it and like what you like, what you dislike, comments on it. We'll get the chat involved. Cottrell, bring up the first one, whatever one you have.
All right, cool. We'll start. All right.
That's just the top 8 that on the top 10.
I thought I had the top 10 in there.
The only reason I say the top 10 is because the 8, I think the 8's perfect. But 10, I have a real issue with. So
Let's see here.
I don't think you could have wrote this any better. I swapped 6 and 7. If you're listening on the podcast version, they have Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, Allen, Hurts, Jaden Daniels 6, Matthew Stafford 7, Justin Herbert 8. Now, I think 9 is Baker and 10 is Geno Smith, which I think is absolutely absurd. That's the reaction I have. The only thing wrong with this top 8, in my opinion, I would swap Stafford and Jaden Daniels. That is it.
Yeah, so this was...
I don't think I disagree with really much anything. I do think I'd probably go one further. I think Jaden would be 8 for me, and I would bump the other 2 up 1. But I mean, I think that is. I think you'd have a hard time convincing me that's not the 8.
I think that's top 8. I think that's tier 1 and tier 2. I think top 4 tier 1. I think the next 4 tier 2.
Fair.
And then you don't even have to rank them. You can just tier them.
Yeah.
The issue I had with PFF was, what the hell did we do after 8? We just went nuts. Like, if you want to argue Baker 9, I'm not gonna hate on that argument.
I mean, not after the last 2 years he's had, honestly. Yeah.
I am not on the Geno Smith 10 boat.
10. That's absurd.
I did this the other day.
I'm trying to find it now.
So
what
hold
the
on.
other ones are.
Why we're doing this, Shally? Can we do a Geno Smith or real quick?
Absolutely.
And
for what it's worth, Jared Goff was number 9, Geno Smith 10,
and then Baker was 11.
Brock Purdy 11, Jordan Love 12, Baker 13.
Okay,
and all of them over Geno. Okay.
Okay, Damien, we'll get into this in a minute. I don't think it's disrespectful, just to be very clear. I don't, but we'll get into it in a minute. And it's Burrow. There's no S. Sorry.
Don't disrespect Jeans, man, like that, bro. It's a very, if you haven't noticed, it's a very pro Joe Burrow show.
No, it's not. Control's on it. Geno Smith or.
I got him 3 all time in the league. No disrespect here.
Geno Smith or.
We were like number 2. How dare you?
Geno Smith or Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker. Geno
Smith or Jared Goff?
Jared.
Geno Smith or Brock Purdy?
Brock,
but not by as margin most people think it should be.
I agree. Geno Smith or Dak?
You're gonna make me do it. Dak.
Geno Smith or Tua?
Tua.
Like, what are we talking? Geno Smith or K1?
Kyler.
Oh man, I was just saying, I would say the way he's played the last year and a half, I would take Kyler.
Like, what are we doing? You guys can hate on me all you want. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I guarantee you this: Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence will be way ahead of Geno Smith by the end of this year. Guarantee it. I am putting my staple. Geno Smith or Caleb Williams?
Caleb.
Like, what are we doing? Why is Geno at 10? Geno Smith or Jordan Love?
Jordan.
Like, and the way you said it, you're like, Jordan, duh.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I'm actually surprised Jordan's as low as he is, to be honest.
Does Geno Smith have a family member on PFF?
Maybe. Does he own it?
I don't know.
My thing is that just speaking with specifically Geno, you got guys behind him that have, I look at what CJ's done in 2 years.
CJ's another one.
Done in 2 years in Houston, and you don't have him ahead of him. Brock Purdy's been to a Super Bowl. He was right there at 11, but I don't know if you want to just go regular season numbers, then how isn't Baker ahead of him? If you want to go postseason wins and just impact to a team, I don't know how CJ and Brock Purdy or even Jordan Love to this point wouldn't be ahead of them. So to me, I just don't know where your argument is of sliding Geno there.
Well, and then you're telling me he's going up in the rankings and he's going to a worse situation than he was just in. Like, yeah. I don't like. So he went from Seattle. He's going to Las Vegas with no weapons, and now he's going up. He's going up in the rankings. Like,
this is. And I went to look at his stats because in my mind I'm like, well, it's got to be stats. Like, he had to statistically just blow us away. I just want to read this to you real quick. All right, I pulled them up, and Baker Mayfield led the league in interceptions last year. So I just want to read these to you side by side. I just want you to hear them. Okay. What would you rather have? Quarterback A, 4,320 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, a 93.2 quarterback rating, a 53.8 QBR. Or would you rather have quarterback B, who had 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns instead of 21, 16 interceptions, that's one more, a 106 quarterback rating, or 61.6 QBR.
It's actually funny because of those numbers. I know exactly who both of those QBs are, but definitely going B.
Like, what what world? I threw for 20 more if a quarterback threw for 20 more touchdowns and one more interception, an extra 200 yards, had a better rating and a better QBR. Yeah, no, we have the other guy ranked out of him. What are we watching? Am I missing something? Geno Smith is on the board.
I think to your other
point, 1 year,
point,
you want Justin Fields or Geno Smith? Coming up this year.
You know how I feel about Justin. So, but to your point about Justin, this is absolutely, without a doubt, positively stamp it. This is his last opportunity to be a starting quarterback in this league.
Yep. Make or break all day.
You don't get, I know they signed him to a 2-year deal. When you sign a quarterback to a 2-year, $20 million a year deal, you don't have afforded the luxury of saying, I know I got 2 years to be a starting quarterback. Because if you think they will find your replacement, and that $20 million is nothing to that NFL team. So this is make or break for him.
And by the way, Seattle took Sam Darnold over Geno Smith. Seattle let Geno walk out the door, sign Sam Darnold.
That they did.
I just don't know what world Geno Smith is a top 10 quarterback in football.
There shouldn't be one.
None. I don't think he's top 20.
Here we are.
But what's the next list?
I believe receivers is next.
Okay. And see, this is
insane too.
So What's insane to you, Bill?
One.
I agree.
And I love him, but he's just not one.
Where do you have AJ? And for the people listening on the podcast at issue, AJ Brown 1, Justin Jefferson 2, Jamar Chase 3, Mon-Ra St. Brown 4, Puka 5, CD 6, Nico 7, Tyreek 8, Mike Evans 9, and Terry McLaurin 10.
He's 4 or 5 for me.
I have him 4.
Jettas is 1. I would say Chase or Lamb are close to 3.
I have the same top 3 as you do.
Yeah, and then I think St. Brown and AJ Brown's a discussion, but I mean,
AJ's better.
I think I wouldn't argue it either way, but he's either 4 or 5 for me.
I think.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I think situations matter. Like I think Tyreek Hill is still a top 5 receiver in this league, and I'd say just if all situations were equal, Tyreek would probably be the guy I have at 4, and I'd have AJ at 5. But I think AJ is better than Amon-Ra. Like Amon-Ra does dirty work. I'll give you that. He gets in where he needs to, things like that. But just the way AJ can physically take over a football game, like for me, that's what my top receivers are going to be devoted to. And so for that, like I would have Jamar 1, Jettis 2, and then CD, Tyreek, and I'd have AJ at 5.
So you chased over Jettis.
I do.
I'm not to see that. I think that
I don't hate it. No, I love Jamar Chase. So
I think Chase and Jettas are interchangeable.
Agreed.
I think that if you have Jettas over Chase, I can hear you. If you have Chase over Jettas, I can hear you. I think CD is the clear 3 out of the 4, and I think AJ's 4. I don't think Amon-Ra's 5 or 6. I'll tell you right now, you know who I have 5, and you guys might look at me like I have 3 heads. But before he got hurt, I think the best receiver in football was Nico Collins. And I have Nico 5, barring how he returns from the injury. I think Nico Collins was incredible last year. He was lights out before he got injured. So I have Nico 5, Amon-Ra 6, Puka 7.
You got Tyreek just down in the dumps.
I do.
Need a quarterback.
I think he's fell off a little bit.
That's who I think needs a quarterback.
I mean, he doesn't have one though. It's not changing.
No,
Tyreek, Bill.
No, yeah. I mean, it's Tua till the wheels fall off, or he forgets his name, one or the other.
Or Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers get on the ball,
bro. I'll tell you right now. I think Quinn Ewers gets some time in Miami this year. He might turn some heads.
I think Quinn's draft was very telling. I think Quinn. I still think Quinn has a very high upside. I think Quinn is a little bit more of a project than people think he is.
So I agree with you, but I will say the one thing with Quinn: if I know for a fact I'm going to be a backup quarterback in the NFL, from a schematic standpoint, I think other spots could be argued. But from an opportunity to get on the field standpoint, there is no place I'd rather be than Miami. I tell you that. You can throw to Waddle. I could throw to Tyreek Hill. And my quarterback is always one hit away from being on the sidelines. Absolutely. Sign me up for that spot.
I agree with that.
And the backup quarterback there, I think it's Zach Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it'd be very easy for Quinn Ewers to beat him out on the depth chart. I don't think that will be a problem.
Would you guys disagree? They're stinking it up. It doesn't matter. What'd you say?
I said, do you disagree?
I'm not saying it can't happen. I mean, I actually think Quinn will make the team, but he's probably the third string quarterback this year.
Okay. Well, I think he'll stay third string until he needs to be starting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. It'll be interesting. The bottom of this list is interesting to me. Terry McLaurin and Mike Evans. Mike Evans is Mr. Reliable. I'm missing somebody here. Who's missing? There's a wide receiver missing on this list.
Devontae Adams.
I don't think he's there anymore.
I mean,
I'll be curious. I will be curious to see what kind of year he has this year. But yeah,
I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be a top 10 receiver by the end of this year. I think Malik Neighbors will be a top 10 receiver by the end of this year. Obviously you can't put them there now, but I think Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors are two names that you could look at. And Lad McConkey. I think all three of them are destined. The third name in the name I'll put, like, if there was like an 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, or if I was projecting, Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to have another great year. The guy is absolutely catching the ball at a slot. He's perfect fit. So those are names that I would look out for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what kind of jump Harrison Jr. makes with Kyler. I think that looks a lot better this year. I feel like we're missing somebody, though.
Garrett Wilson, for me, is the one I think is going to get back into, like, top 10 discussions. I think having Justin Fields there, like, talk about a receiver getting comfortable. Like, you saw last year at times where it felt like Aaron Rodgers was force-feeding Devontae Adams the ball after they made that trade. Well, I think Justin Fields is going to do that with Garrett Wilson. Like, he's the one that he has the chemistry with, and Garrett is the bona fide number one option on that team. It's no longer just Garrett Wilson and then all of Aaron Rodgers' old teammates from Green Bay. It's going to be an offense, I think it's going to be tailored to that connection there. So I think for sure he's going to be one that gets there. And I'm going to go with Gene's other favorite receiver in the NFL and Drake London. I think Drake London is going to have another stellar year following up his year last year. You get Penny throwing you the ball all year. I think you're going to have consistent numbers there again, and you're going to be flirting in the top 10 territory.
So look,
1,200 yard season, 10 touchdown season, growing trees, dude. Nine is special.
But I got to give Drake London credit. 100 receptions, 1,271 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
Every team's got 3 of them.
I will ask you the same question when I go through these lists. And Drake London had a great year. I would not take Drake London over any guy that we mentioned today.
That's fine. I'm not disagreeing with you. That wasn't the discussion we had that night. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm all right. So just for fun, can we do another Drake London and I'll keep my mouth shut?
Okay.
Drake London or Brian Thomas Jr.
I mean, right now I'm taking Drake London.
I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. already outgained him his first year.
We'll see.
Better stats year 1.
Bona fide number 1.
So you guys picked. Who are you taking, Control?
I'd take Brian.
Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors.
Well, you guys said that so clearly. But Brian Thomas Jr. had a better year than Malik Neighbors. Lad McConkey.
I'm taking Drake.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Lad's good. Don't get me wrong.
Lad's good. He is good. He's more like a slog guy, though. I'm taking Drake for now.
Smitty.
Drake.
I'll take Smitty because I think if Smitty was the number 1, he would be better.
JSN.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett
Wilson.
That's what I mean. Like, he's 20.
That was the bro. We never sat here and said he was a top 10 receiver. We just rattled all, like, the whole thing started because you said Chris Olave is this, and this. And then we looked up the numbers, and Drake's numbers were better all 3 years. So if Chris Olave is that, and that, then how can Drake London not at least get his flowers when he has better numbers? That was the whole argument.
I'm hoping Chris Olave gets traded to the Jets. I really want that to happen. I'm speaking it so much into existence. Like, I want that.
Wild.
I would 100% be here for that. But
Shelby, a Jets fan.
There's so many rumors of him going to the AFC North between the Browns and the Steelers that I don't know if the Jets make an offer for him.
Sidebar conversation. Which quarterback is not going to be on the Browns roster week 1?
Kenny Pickett.
I agree with you.
I'd be willing
I think he goes to New Orleans. I think he gets traded there.
Yeah, I'd be willing to put a nice sum of money on that. Like, if there were odds specifically for that, like which one quarterback won't be on the roster.
What did they trade for Kenny?
A fifth.
They're going to recoup that same 5th. Probably.
Yep. And I think they'll get
Probably.
higher in the draft. I
Yeah,
think
they'll
they
get a
trade
fifth.
him to the.
They're going to trade him. Somebody's going to need a starting quarterback before week 1 of the regular season, or
Yeah,
a
but you still
high-powered
got-
backup before week 1 for the regular season.
Yeah, but you got like Cousins and people like that out there still.
Who is money-wise, $37 million to work with. Kenny's on the last year of his rookie deal. Like,
I get it, but if you're trying to win games and you can afford them, then you're going to take Kirk Cousins over Kenny Pickett.
If you want to, do you spend an extra $37 million on Kirk Cousins, even if that means you win a couple extra games, or if you're a situation like New Orleans where if you get Kenny on a 1-year deal and he plays well, then you get to sign him to. I mean, I'd say worst case scenario, he gets a Sam Darnold-esque contract.
That is an enormous if, bro. That is an enormous. Kenny Pickett has not shown anything close in his NFL career that he's anything close to Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold,
maybe
before last year, like
maybe Atlanta, maybe Atlanta covers some of the money to take him.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question real quick, and I'll sell Kenny Pickett on you. I want to read comments real quick. I read these this morning, and I want to read them to you, and I want to see if your opinion changes any bit. Okay, Bill.
Okay.
You could be completely right. I just want to read the comments. Come on, dude. ESPN updates their friggin' site. Hold on. Terry Bradshaw. All right, so I'm going to pull up the article. I want to get the exact quotes. I don't want to.
Yeah, no, true.
Don't rename him.
Hall of Fame quarterback made it abundantly clear on Tuesday he isn't a fan of widely expected move, regardless of it being drawn out, of Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a joke. That is just to me as a joke. What are you going to do? Bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? The guy needs to stay in California, go somewhere, chew on bark, and whisper to the gods out there. Hilarious comment.
I'm with him on that. I agree.
Okay. So he then talked about Kenny Pickett, and he goes, Kenny Pickett wasn't a failure. The Steelers organization was. I liked Kenny Pickett. I liked him at Pitt. I know him. I know what he's like. When they got him in Pittsburgh, they didn't protect him. They didn't get him an offensive line. They wanted to run the football, but they didn't have an offensive line that could protect, and they didn't have weapons. He had no receivers to speak of. Then you throw a kid in there for 2 years. You got an offense that doesn't fit and doesn't work. You can't run because the offensive line's not even good enough for a run blocking scheme. Therefore, they're saying Kenny Pickett's a failure. He wasn't a failure. The Steelers were a failure. I just wanted to read those exact quotes.
I mean,
he's not wrong.
I'm not saying he's wrong, but it still doesn't. I mean, it still doesn't mean that Kenny Pickett is a top 15 starting quarterback either.
We're not saying that though, but I think the point is though is
okay. So all right, but all right. So then hold on, the timeout.
What was your opinion on Sam Darnold before last year?
Underachiever.
I mean, a fringe top 32 guy.
Okay, but here's my point: that if that's Kenny Pickett, if that's what you're selling me, that's what Kenny Pickett is. Then A, you're getting more than a 5th round pick for him. And B, why is Cleveland trading him then? How is he the odd guy out with 2 unproven rookies that both have flaws in their game?
Because
I think he's the most valuable commodity.
Yeah, it is the question mark. Like, he could be that, but Cleveland is saying, hey, if you give us a 5th, I'd prefer you guys figuring that out than us figuring that out. Just like the case with Sam Darnold. Like,
then
Sam
Cleveland's
Darnold
really poorly run then.
No, you don't bank on your franchise QB potentially being
time out. Nobody said franchise. See, that's what I mean. We're switching narratives here. If Kenny Pickett can win you 9 games this year, are you trading him to play Shador and Gabriel? Is that what you're doing?
Well,
no, but that's not.
I would say the answer would be yes. So you say no, I say yes.
But I don't think that is the point, though. Like we're talking about hypothetical. Like I think you're selling other teams on the upside of Kenny. Like you have upside. You have upside with Shador. You have upside with Dylan Gabriel, and you have history with Joe Flacco there. So like I think no matter what, you're fine as far as upside and a known commodity. With Kenny, it's like it could be this. We could have a guy on the last year of his deal. It could be that. That's what you're selling other teams on. You don't have to sell yourself
so
on that.
if you
because
want
you
me
got
to
three
buy
guys
that,
in the
if you want
position.
me to buy that, so then if you want me to buy that, and I'm objectionably looking at Cleveland Browns situation this year, you're then selling me that the guy that gives you the best chance to win football games this year, you want to trade. Why is that?
Okay,
No
can I
one's saying
answer?
that he's the
Can I
best guy
answer?
win football game.
You just is. You're talking about how old's Flacco now? 42? How old's Flacco?
41, 42.
He's old, yeah.
41, 42. And the other two kids aren't winning you shit. Let's just be 100% honest. I'm
Well,
not saying they're not good. I'm not saying they're not good quarterbacks, possibly down the road. They're not winning you shit this year.
Well, give me.
True
Can
or
I sell it
false?
to you? Can I sell it to you?
Hold on. I'll let you answer. I got you. True or false, Cottrell?
I mean, I don't think that's
How many games?
necessarily
If Shador Sanders starts 18 games next year, how many are you winning?
true. I'd say probably 7.
7? You think you're going 7-11 in that division with him as your starting quarterback?
7 and 10.
7-10. Sorry.
Yep.
I will bet you everything I own on this green earth that they don't win 7 games.
We don't have to worry about it because it's not going to happen.
I'm saying my point is if
Gene,
I know you're steaming.
I know. Let
one thing I'll say just real quick.
I'll hear Gene's rebuttal.
If this Browns roster is good enough to win 9 games with Kenny Pickett, I think they could also win 9 games with potentially Gabriel, Flacco, or Sanders as well.
God, I love you, and I couldn't disagree with you more.
All right,
Go ahead,
so
Gene.
I don't care about winning 7 games with Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. That's not what I'm here to talk about.
I know.
You're going to be Mickey Loomis. You're going to be the GM of the Saints, and you're looking for a quarterback. Derek Carr's retired, and you're Mickey Loomis. Okay, can we be that for a minute? Can we play the game?
Got it. Yes, sir.
Right. So Mickey, where we're at is this: we did not expect when we traded for Kenny, we did not expect quarterback talent to fall to us in the 3rd and the 5th, and we want to develop these 2 young guys. So Sanders and Dylan Gabriel are going to remain on our roster, and we cannot keep 4 quarterbacks. So by us drafting these 2 quarterbacks, the veteran quarterback Joe Flacco that absolutely knows his role and knows our offense and knows our scheme is going to mentor these 2 young quarterbacks. We don't have a space for Kenny right now. Your head coach Kellen Moore coached Kenny Pickett to a game and a half in Philadelphia, and he looked excellent. You have a coach that knows the system. We have Kenny Pickett, which we're just not going to invest the future in right now because on the final year of his rookie deal, you can see what you have in your team, and you might have a future quarterback that you don't have to draft one. Just give us your 5th for Kenny, and we'll let it go. We'll literally just we gave up a 5th, we get back a 5th, we call it a day. That's the selling point. That's the argument.
Okay. And then if I'm the Saints, I'm sitting here saying I don't think Kenny Pickett is that much of an upgrade over Rattler. I don't think we're going to compete this year anyway. If you're that low on Kenny Pickett and somebody else is in trade for him, I'll just wait for you to release him then if that's what you're going to do.
I'm not that low on him. We like Kenny Pickett. Joe knows our system.
Okay. Then somebody else has got to go.
So we'll call around and we'll see. I just know I have a quarterback on my roster that knows your coach's system and that played for him last year and beat the Dallas Cowboys 41-6.
Yeah, Dallas. When does Dallas win a big game?
Guys, 8:55. Let's get in. You got to be kidding me.
All right. So this week for me, ultimately, I'm rolling with the SEC. Just because it is not necessarily for what they're doing. I just think they are ultimately jumping the gun here. So for you guys that don't know, the SEC has basically come out and said they are going to separate themselves from the NCAA starting in the 2028-2029 season. There aren't really much details about exactly what that would look like, but to me, I think this is the SEC ultimately taking their ball and trying to go home. Now, there's no secret that I'm never a fan of what the NCAA does, what they stand for, and things like that. And I ultimately think it would be probably in college football's best interest if all these programs got together and made a way to not fool with the NCAA, but still compete with everyone, like every school individually there. But this is an attempt here to think that the SEC is just more important than the sport. And for me, that's not the case. You have back-to-back years in college football where a Big Ten school has won the national championship, and you have coaches coming out and complaining like Kalen DeBoer and Georgia's coach, Kirby Smart, about some SEC schools not getting into the back end of the playoffs this past year, like Ole Miss and South Carolina. And for me, that it's just a little rich because Alabama was also another school that was thrown in there. You talk about your schedule, you talk about this, you talk about that. Well, specifically the case for Alabama, if you take care of business against the Vanderbilt team or a 5-7 Oklahoma team, you're probably in the playoffs, and we're not having this conversation. Similar thing with Ole Miss. You take care of business in a regular season game against Florida that you 100% absolutely should have won. We're not having these conversations about team missing the playoffs here. So I think it's a little bit of sour grapes for the SEC, and I think they're making this move too prematurely. And, ultimately, this is not what's going to be best for college football. So I like the sentiment, SEC, but I think you guys should have worked around it a little bit better because this isn't what the sport's looking for. So this week for me, Sankey and the rest of the SEC.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Shally.
I didn't have one until today, and then I saw this silly little exchange on Twitter. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to use Ben Stiller this week. So if you're not familiar with what happened last night in the Indiana Pacers game, Pat McAfee was there, obviously, Indiana guy. It is notorious that, if you go to a Knicks game, you always see celebrities, actors, producers, musicians, whoever. Spike Lee, obviously, is the staple. He's there every game. Ben Stiller's become a really big Knicks fan. He lives in New York. He traveled to the Pacers game last night. So McAfee comes out for the fourth quarter, tries to fire up the crowd, going into the fourth quarter, calls out Spike Lee, Ben Stiller, didn't say anything disrespectful, just said, just take your asses home, like blah, 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 like just normal stuff. Go on Twitter last night, and Ben Stiller's on Twitter, like ripping Pat McAfee for saying it would never happen in New York, and it was disrespectful to be called out in front of the fans and blah, blah, blah. Dude, it's a basketball game. It's a playoff basketball game nonetheless. That is his job. If you don't know anything about Pat McAfee, about what he does in life or how he acts, who he is as a person, you can't take anything he says seriously. He's literally there trying to get a rise out of the crowd, get everybody to be loud, get everybody ready to go. To say wouldn't happen in a Knicks game where 2 weeks ago there's people from the other teams outside getting trash cans thrown at them, that's a little rich for me. So for me this week, Ben Stiller, just kind of realize where you're coming from a little bit more, bud.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
My next one is really easy. You got to be kidding me this week is just, it writes itself. Tyreek Hill did two really stupid things this week, and I don't know which one is dumber. So Tyreek Hill's constantly caught on live streams. He's doing stuff where he's video gaming. He says things back and forth. They asked him about Travis Hunter on live stream. He said he's going to be asked. I don't know why you're doing that. I don't know why you said that. I don't know what the reason for doing that is. The other thing that kind of threw me off is one of the YouTubers, I forget who it is, but basically was like, oh, Tyreek, you just been traded. He's like, it's all over everywhere. And then he celebrated that he was being traded on live stream. I don't get it for a guy that got paid. They paid him so much money to be an elite wide receiver. He signed an extension there. You go out and make a big thing about like, I shouldn't have said what I said after the end of the season. I want to be in Miami. This is where I want to be at. Mandatory mini camps are coming up. And you're caught on two different live streams saying stupid stuff that does not need to be around your team. I look at some of these NFL players, NBA players, and some of the things that they say, and I'm like, I can't understand how immature you can be. And for Tyreek Hill, I think his mental capacity is just so low. I think he's such a moron that he just does dumb shit constantly. So for calling Travis Hunter, Heisman Trophy winner, second pick in the draft, he's going to be asked. And then celebrating when you think you're traded from your team on live stream, even if it's a joke. You're this week's. You got to be kidding me.
Come on, you got to be kidding me.
Both of those things. Yeah, he was with Aiden Ross is the guy's name. You guys know Aiden Ross?
I know who he is, yeah.
He was on a stream with Aiden, and they asked him about Travis Hunter. He said he's going to be ass. And then he celebrated when Aiden played a prank on him saying he got traded.
Wild.
I just don't get it.
If I'm Miami, but I'm on the phone.
No, I don't know who's giving you anything after last year. And by the way, I could have used Stephon Diggs because he's an idiot too.
Stephon Diggs is not the brightest. Mike Vrabel answering questions about it. I will say, though, the one thing that has been, and this is not in defense of Stephon, but this is just players in general, making it a big deal, like getting all the reports of the players not at voluntary OTAs is something that, as a whole, we have to stop doing. I get it. Stephon Diggs is different. He's on a new team. He's coming off an injury, things like that. So, like, his situation is different. But as a whole, like, we got to stop caring about what players aren't at voluntary OTAs.
I, for the most part, I don't disagree with you. But to your point, like with Diggs, it's like, okay, he's not here, but he's not all over social media on a boat doing drugs with people. Like, there's a big difference.
No,
like,
for sure.
Like,
for sure.
Oh no, Diggs is at home visiting his parents for the week. We gave him the week off, like no big deal. Okay, cool. I don't care that he's not here. Mike, do you think it was important for Diggs to be here this week? Well, yeah, probably. Mike, are you aware that he's on a boat doing drugs with a bunch of people? And it's like, man, like you can't get away from that.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that.
I don't get things like that. I just don't like. You just signed a 3-year, $69 million contract with an organization. They paid you $23 million a year to play wide receiver for them, coming off an ACL injury and a bad season.
And for a guy that is a culture guy.
Yeah, well,
I'm saying you're playing for a guy that is a culture type coach. Like
100%, but I'll give Vrabel credit. He definitely kept AJ Brown under wraps. You didn't hear AJ Brown like this when he was playing for Vrabel.
Nope.
That's all we got today. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, that was a fun show.
Great show. Great time talking with you guys as usual. By the way, the Thunder up 15 in the first quarter.
Oh boy,
not surprising. Yeah, track meet.
Oh boy, oh boy. Might be able.
How many Ant got? Was Ant got?
4 on 2 of 4 shooting.
Nice.
A little old minus 15 on the plus minus.
Nice.
Yikes.
Can't, man. Print the shirts.
See,
the Thunder are absolutely going to blitz them tonight.
I say they get boat race tonight. You might get a goofy Ant press conference after this.
By the way, we didn't ever get to use this for You Got to Be Kidding Me, and it was a few weeks ago, and I keep forgetting to bring it up on the show. But I know Cottrell knows exactly about this. I'm shocked he didn't use it. So, do you know about the Cavs owner spending $500,000 to bring in a snow machine inside the arena?
Yeah.
For every time the Cavs went on a 10-0 run or
Avalanche.
It's called the Cavalanche, and they were going to shoot snow into the arena, this fake snow. And he spent $500,000 to get this machine inside the arena for the playoffs for the Cavalanche. And you know how many times they shot it off? Once. I wish I had that money.
I was gonna say, it just goes to show you. Go back to my point earlier, just how much money these people really freaking make, man. If you're owning a sports team,
I will say this: Dan Gilbert does whatever he can to make that team run. After LeBron leaving was the best thing that ever could have happened to that team. Like that kicked Dan Gilbert in the shape.
It
Like
motivates.
now he's willing to spend whatever it takes to not only have winners, but to have people come to the game and like support. Like
I just love the Cavalanche idea.
In
Avalanche!
Gilbert's defense, too, he was very wealthy before he started owning that team. So,
in facts,
I just needed to bring it up. It was really funny. The Cavalanche.
that is fine. I
used
don't know
one.
how I didn't hear about that.
It's really funny. All right. Any final comments, gentlemen?
Nada.
nothing.
All right. Well, then that's it. I appreciate everybody tuning in to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. Tune in later on tonight to be determined. Podcast deferred. I love the name Podcast Deferred because they defer. Did you hear Seven's? Did you see the intro for Seven's podcast?
No, I haven't.
Podcast name deferred. He goes, "We're deferring our name like the Dodgers defer their payroll." That's in the intro. It's so great. If you guys like baseball, Up and In and podcast name deferred are two shows you have to listen to. And they're different flavors. Both of them are different flavors of coffee, but they're great. Listen to both of them, check it out, and then check me out tomorrow morning on Coffee and Sports in the Morning. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walls. Like, that's Kent State's own, Cleveland's own College Cottrell, Uncle Shally, Scholastic Shally, Mr. William Shawcross, and we are signing out.